Agriculture is the backbone of Philippine society that feeds nearly 105 million Filipinos. Thus, the need to sustain this food source for the present and future generations. The youth will inherit this concern for food security.
Young people ages 15 to 30 comprise almost 30% or 29 million of the Philippine population as 2015. Those living in rural areas are often marginalized as a result of problems such as poverty, food insecurity, discrimination, displacement, and lack of education and opportunities.
Fast industrial and technological advancements have shifted youth interest away from agriculture to more corporate-leaning job opportunities.
Agriculture offers many employment opportunities, yet young people are discouraged due to hardship and low income associated with farming. But by their numbers alone, there is tremendous potential for youth to be involved in ensuring a sustainable future for the country.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, is implementing a project with a local NGO, Yakap Kalikasan, encouraging youth involvement in sustainable development. Through this project, 3 youth groups grew vegetables and herbs right in their own backyards and schoolyards through simple and inexpensive ways.
Ang mga tanim po namin dito ay ang madalas namin kinakain sa aming bahay. Ang mga bago na sa aming panlasa ay ang coriander o wansoy, pipino, lettuce.
Gumagamit po kami ng recyclable materials upang mga patapon na bagay sa amin ay magagamit namin sa garden muli at mapapakinabangan. Katulad ng plastic bottles, jeans, sapatos, fan cover, gulong at iba pa.
This healthy produce in the school youth gardens supply the school's feeding program, ensuring more nutritious food for the students.
Dahil ito po ay nagbibigay sa amin ng fresh vegetables na readily available po na nandiyan lang sa school, very nutritious po at hindi na po siya kailangang bilhin.
Ang mga kinakain naming gulay, okra, talong, pechay, at marami pang iba. Ang mga gulay na ito ay masustansya at masarap.
These youth gardens are examples of how small backyards, abandoned spaces, garbage dumps, or urban areas can be converted into something useful, attractive, and productive.
Inago po namin yung idea na tambakan lang po ng garbage itong tabihan ng building namin dito, and we turned it into organic gardening place.
The gardens also serve as a learning laboratory of students.
Ginagamit po namin ito as laboratory, part po ng aming curriculum para po gamiting research laboratory sa science.
This youth-driven gardening resulted in more responsible youth and more capable young leaders.
There is a need to revive the youth's interest to pursue farming as a profession, for it is vital to future food security and agricultural development. FAO is working to encourage and engage young people to be the next generation of farmers, food entrepreneurs, scientists, agronomists, extension workers, and government leaders.
Dati po, dito sa village namin, hindi po kami magkakakilala. Pero po, nung nagkaroon ng orientation, mas nakilala po namin yung isa't isa at natuto po kami mag-gardening para sa pagkain namin.
Kami po ay modelo ng isang youth organization para po sa organic gardening.
Kami po yung naglilinis nito, nagbabantay po. Tsaka po, tumulong po kami sa pagplano po nitong layout ng garden. Yung mga gulay po, dinadala po namin sa feeding program po namin. Tsaka po, naibebenta po siya para po sa pondo ng YESO.
Everything was a learning process, a combination of seeing, reflecting, and adapting. The youth have already brought the gardening technologies into their own homes, involving now other members of the family.
Nag-adapt po kami ng vertical gardening sa harap ng bahay namin kahit may maliit na spasyo para makatipid sa pang-araw-araw na gastusin at meron pang araw-araw na ulam.
We believe that the youth can really contribute in the promotion of sustainable development, especially in addressing the need for food, healthy life, equal opportunity for education, and the sustainable environment. And this is the youth empowerment.
Our future is in the hands of the youth.
My name is Eunice Nakiru Lako Dominic. Before I used to be a farmer, and then I just a housewife. I cooked in the house. I don't do any other work. We started the training last year. It became helpful to me because I was able to make some uniforms now, which I can even make uniform for my grandchildren. Yeah. Those 5 months was not enough, but we learned a lot of basics one. Exactly like making some drawing, taking some notes, measurements. In these 5 months, we are able to make for children clothing, like shirt, skirt, and shorts. Yeah, my life is changed because now I'm able to maybe make like 5 uniform in a day or 6 uniform in a day, and that is already 30 pounds in a day. I will go home while I will buy something like vegetable. I buy some flour, which means every day as I go home, I have something like sugar 1 kilo or half a kilo. Whatever I lack in the house, I will buy when I'm going in the evening. Yeah, that is the change.
Torit is the capital town of Eastern Equatoria State, located southeast of South Sudan with an estimated population of 50,000 residents. The town has until recently been host to thousands of South Sudanese who fled the civil conflict and have been slowly returning home to resettle and rebuild their lives. People returning home, however, need several livelihood skills to be able to rebuild their lives. Now, Community Development Support Services, CDSS, has opened up a project to train citizens in vocational skills, an initiative that would improve the livelihood of the citizens. One of the projects is focused at supporting the women. Fiona Chichiloki is the project manager of Community Development Support Services. She explains that this project seeks to provide women with both theoretical and practical life skills that can help groom these women into useful citizens.
Basically, what the project is about is economic empowerment of men and women through practical vocational skills training in macro and small enterprises in Tori. Because after the conflict, so the economic situation that affected most parts of South Sudan didn't also leave Tori. So we got more affected because it's a pass away actually. Tori is a pass away to probably Uganda or Kenya, and most returnees come and foreigners also come and reside here, and most of them become business people here, and the local people here are left with no businesses to do. So most of them become they deal with very small, maybe collecting firewood, just little bit livelihood that they do here. So we decided to do this project to come and train them on some skills so that they may be able to generate income to at least increase their social status and their well-being.
Sandana Mwa, a field officer, CDSS, explains the project's objectives and the challenges they face.
The objectives of this project actually was that 50% of the trainees or the beneficiaries were supposed to either be able to get employment or start their own businesses. So, and the enterprises as well, 50% of the enterprises should be able to increase their income and improve their restaurants in other different ways. So one of the problems we're having is that the students, the mentality of the people we're having is that they can only come for the incentive, for the allowances that they get. So that makes it hard to achieve the project's objective, because once they come, they know they're given allowances, and once they're done with the 5 months training, most of them go back to what they were doing. Like the women would go back to getting firewood and burning them into charcoal. The men would sometimes just go back to not doing anything at all. So that kind of just reduces the success of the project.
The trainings include carpentry and joinery, tailoring, catering, masonry, bricklaying, and concrete practice. At least 50% of the students that were enrolled have successfully completed the training sessions and are employed. Challenges, however, remain, as these trainers told me.
There are some challenges. For example, most of these trainees, let me say like half of them, there is a language communication problem. They don't understand English. It is Arabic. For us also, we don't understand that much Arabic, especially with the kitchen language. Another thing also, these ladies, when they come, they used to spend their time here in the kitchen. They don't have budget for feeding them. Another thing is the attendance. Most of them, they used to come, but sometimes also they used to fail to come.
مشاكل تانين مشاكل في بيت كمان ظروف تبيت كمان بعد مرات كتاب تبومون اللي جوزول عنده جانا سكر عشان ما في حاجة كويسة لو بيسيبوا مجانا في بيت أو بيجا في training مجانا كله lakini اللي جو training ده مجانا كمان ما جروا سوا بعد مرات إتدار كده دوسو ما كان جانا كمان في كورا جانا كي كورة شنو ده تابالانا جلديجو.
Yeah, there are a lot of problems, right? These currencies, they are going higher, and to pay people is even difficult, and also food shortages. This kind of work need energy. Yeah, go to the market there, can get a sack for 25 kgs. It's like 450. Currently, it's 500. So these are the things we are facing underground.
Hope for a brighter future is visible in the eyes of many of these young men and women who have concluded their training.
Before I did not get this training, I was really, my life was not good. But now it has changed now. I get something little to sustain my family and I myself here. Now I'm employed here. My boss has already employed me here. No need of going and search for the job again.
As one group expresses the joy of completing a vital skills training, new entrants are optimistic that the training can help turn their lives around.
Kanana limanenta bukuna na bada business time ma shokole. Kaman kama fi nasanin big maruf. Mungkin ana bagder kaman alimu mbeteri gala naruf.
Ana jafi training de asan mesado ana yalta igeni tabanin ma fi zola aldafa mun fi madarasa wana ma daru yalta ikelu mun jegeni tabanin zeyana andaru yalta ikelu mun agara kelu mun jegeni fi official quiz.
Skills training is essential in any society because with skills, people's potentials are well utilized for the betterment of society. As the Chinese say, give a man fish and he will eat for a day. Teach him how to fish and he will eat fish forever. So the skills are a lifelong asset that the Community Development Support Services seeks to give the communities in Torit.
Morning po, Doc Awi. So, Miss Hannah, let us start. Morning po, everyone.
Good morning po. Good morning po.
Okay, so a pleasant morning.
Morning po.
Good morning po. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce myself. I am Carol Kate De Leon from General Education 1, and for today, I will be your host together with my partner, Sir.
Good morning po. I am Angelo. Good morning po. I am Angelo Oliva. I'm also from GE1, and I will be your host today for today's session. So welcome to our NSTP.
Lord, thank you for this day, for the presence of everyone in this call. For once again, we are gathered and given the opportunity to appreciate life and your words. Forgive us for our shortcomings and cleanse our hearts as we learn and live your words and example. Father, bless our endeavors, especially today's meeting. May you guide us in our discussions, and may you enlighten our minds in every decision that we make. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts for your greater glory. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Once again, good morning po. Good morning po sa mga kasama nating faculty dito po sa ating session today and also sa atin pong speaker, kay Dr. Rowena. And let's call po kay Miss Aona for the opening remarks.
All right. To the Executive Director and Provost,
who I think is watching online, Dr. Leia Amores Cortez, to the Dean for Academics and TLE, Dr. Amor F. Luniza, to the NSTP Coordinator and the Head of the Extension Office of PNU South Luzon, Professor Cyrene C. Osenya, to my co-NSTP faculty, Dr. Edgardo S. Villaseñor, Ms. Hannah Rose Mapula, and Mr. Mark Joshua Hagusohos, to the first-year NSTP students of PNU South Luzon, and most especially our guest speaker for this morning, the University Director for Community Partnership and Extension Office, or CPEO of Philippine Normal University, no other than Dr. Rowena R. Hibanada. Magandang umaga. We are very privileged to have this opportunity to learn and understand the global citizenship education today. As we learn the essence of being an educator in this country, teaching the area of specialization that we have, teaching the appreciation of our identity as a Filipino, it is also necessary to educate our learners that they're also a part of the global community, and they're also expected to take part in action in this call of global citizenship education. Today, I welcome each and everyone, and I hope that we take this opportunity to listen, to grasp, and to embrace the global citizenship education, what it is, and how can we be part of it from one of the people who authored the said curriculum in the Philippines. So with that, thank you so much, and again, good morning to each and everyone.
Thank you po, Miss Iona.
Thank you, Ma'am Iona. So let's give Ma'am Iona a round of a virtual clap, everyone. So before I ask Ma'am Cyrene Osenya to introduce our speaker, I would like to ask everyone, do you have any idea what our topic is about? Sustainable development. Anyone from GE1 to GE5? What do you think is sustainable development is? Anyone?
So parang walang gusto sumagot. Pero parang wala silang idea sa topic natin today. So I encourage everyone to listen carefully to our speaker para magkaroon tayo ng mas malalim na idea at pagkakaunawa sa ating topic today.
Okay, so may I call on Ma'am Cyrene Osenya to introduce our speaker, ma'am? Ma'am, you're nakamute. Ma'am, you're...
Nadidinig po ako, sir.
Okay na po. Okay na, ma'am.
Hello po.
Opo, naririnig po, ma'am.
Ayan, okay na. Okay. This morning, this task of introducing to our guest speaker and honor is a great privilege. Of course, together with our Executive Director and Provost, Dr. Leia Amor S. Cortez, Dean for TLE and Academics, Dr. Amor F. Luniza, and to all the faculty officials and NSTP faculty, it is our privilege to introduce to you our guest speaker for this morning. I know this is one as difficult task, but the thought that she is a woman of virtue and simplicity. I feel elated to introduce her to you this morning because she is a living inspiration to everyone this morning. And of course, I use this term because there are some pioneering spirit and willingness to work and to provide her time and effort. Our guest of honor and speaker today is a living idiom of honor and proud to introduce to you that the woman behind the CPEO will serve as our speaker. And of course, proud to introduce that she has a cum laude in secondary education, major in social science from Philippine Normal University, finished Master of Arts in Social Science teaching at Philippine Normal University in 2002, and Values Education at University of Asia and the Pacific in 2012. And she finished her PhD and education major in educational leadership and management program at De La Salle University, Manila in 2017. She obtained in values education and civic education from the University of Asia and the Pacific in 2008 in all full scholarship. She also served and received some forgettable and momentous award like Outstanding Teacher from 2004 in Muntinlupa, Metrobank Foundation Outstanding Teacher of the Philippines year back 2008, Dangalang Barangay sa Larangan ng Edukasyon Awardee way back 2009, Outstanding Citizen of Muntinlupa 2014, Philippine Normal University Gawad Sulu Awardee for Eminent Alumni 2017, and Philippine Normal University Alumni Association Chapter Outstanding Alumni Awardee way back 2018, and an Outstanding UNESCO Educator of the Philippines 2019. Now, at this juncture, I would like to introduce to you our guest speaker with intelligent and of course experiences that will help us to promote some 21st century ideas and strategy, none other than guest of honor, Dr. Rowena Hebanada, Director of Community Partnership and Extension Office. Let's give her a virtual clap.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Siren, Professor Asenya. Thank you very much for introducing me and for giving the welcome address, Ma'am Ayona. Maraming salamat sa pag-invite. Maghingi din ako ng kaunting pasensya dahil nagkaroon ako ng conflict of schedule dahil opening program ng aming sa Manila, no, sa campus ang International Volunteers Summit. And so because tomorrow will be International Volunteer Day, and of course one of the things that we do at NSTP is to volunteer. But I will be talking about it in passing, but my talk will be focused on global citizenship and state development. I can share my screen. There are many Nawala ba ako? Sorry naman. Ayan. Pwede na ba ako mag-share ng screen? Hindi pa po. Okay. Medyo intermittent ang aming internet pag Saturday. Can I be permitted to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. You can share your screen.
All right. Thank you. So let me look at my PowerPoint. I'll be talking about global citizenship for sustainable development. So can you see me at the PowerPoint? All right. I entitled my presentation for this morning, teaching GCED for sustainable development, teaching together, GC for SD. This is the project that I'm currently working on in cooperation with educators from Belgium, from Finland, Kenya, and it is being participated by some of the values education students that we have at the Philippine Normal University Manila. And they are teaching together, and looking at how global citizenship education can be integrated in values education, and looking into it as a means, to contribute to the attainment of the SDG goals, or the Global Goals 2030. So what are the objectives of today's session? Of course, kanina sabi ni Angelo, mukhang medyo tahimik sila at hindi sila familiar doon sa pag-uusapan natin ngayon kasi wala silang masabi, or maybe the internet is really challenging today. But of course, one of the objectives of our session for this morning is to develop and acquire knowledge and skills on GSED, specifically the themes and the concepts relevant to SDGs. And of course, to develop awareness on emerging global issues and challenges that we are beset today, and to identify emerging strategies in teaching GSED for ESD, because eventually you will be teachers and you will look upon this as a good tool to further our goals, our sustainable development goals, as well as how the PNU South Luzon can also contribute to the attainment of the national goals towards the global goals. So for our first activity, can you go to menti.com or type in this PIN 129338.5, or you can scan this QR code to enter, and you'll be asked what are the three words that comes into your mind when you hear about GSED, or Global Citizenship Education, or Sustainable Development Goals. You can just scan this code right here in my slide, or you can also look at here at the Menti joining pin. Okay. And so I will look at the Cloud Drive if there are people who are coming in. Not yet. You want me to share the link? I can share the link at the chat box also. There. So I'll wait for your answers. What three words that comes to mind when you hear GSED or SDGs? Tama naman. Sige, I'll be opening it. Okay, so ito na. Let me share that one. Maybe I will not be able to open it. Let me share that one. So this is a real time, of course, so there are 6 who are still writing their answers and responses. So these are the words that you have shared. So what is the common word? Mukhang wala, mukhang kanya-kanya. Yon, human rights. Malabas, no? So common word that you have entered in your responses is human rights. Of course, there are universal principles, economy, empowerment, society. Ayan. Malabas din second, yung environment, no? Cleanliness, waste, yan, protection, development, right? Also, we look at the society as responsibility lies in the hands of the people. I like the idea of looking at how we can organize ourselves, no? But there are skills also, like engagement, taking an active role, or thinking skills. Ayan. Innovation, learning, education. So human rights. You're on the right track. I think you there are 18 students who came to the Mentimeter, and I think you're on the right track. And you have an idea of what global citizenship is all about. Let me go back to my screen and share my PowerPoint again. All right, so what is global citizenship education? Well, there are many definitions of global citizenship. And as I've seen in your responses, no, there are different packets of knowledge, no, of the concepts that you have already familiar with, no? But global citizenship education is a type of education, and we are at the Philippine Normal University. We are in the business of educating people. We are in the business of giving people the education that they need in order, or the awareness that people need in order for them to live competently in this world. Let me just sign some papers which are really important. Sorry. I'm really sorry about that. Nako, napaka-busy ng ating buhay kahit Sabado. Anyway, so as I go back to what I'm telling earlier, no, I was just mentioning earlier that we are in the business of educating people. We are educators, and we tend to look at the society as some group of people whom we need to equip, no, as teachers. And so the aim of global citizenship education is to equip learners of all ages, from childhood to adulthood. No, even those who are already in the later stage of life, they also need global citizenship education. Why? Because they need the knowledge, they need the values and the skills, no? And based on this, to instill respect, no, for human rights, for social justice, for diversity, for gender equality and equity, for environmental sustainability. And that kind of knowledge, those values that are needed in order for us to be competent in the society, to live in a society, and the skills that we need, no, should be able to empower us to be responsible global citizens, to be engaged towards building a peaceful, just, and sustainable society. So at Harvard, they call it global education. No? Some would call it cosmopolitan education. No? According to Harvard Graduate School Professor Fernando Reimers, education that seeks to meet the need of the 21st century, but is global in outlook. So we look at how we can equip learners in the 21st century skills. So there must be, I would like to convey the idea that the 21st century skills is not far from global citizenship education. In fact, they are complementary to each other. And so some of the skills in the 21st century is actually related to the global citizenship skills as well. Okay, so what are the G's and outcomes? No, even the Asia Pacific or Southeast Asia, CIMEO, no, have already have already their inputs in the international large scale assessment, such as the CPLM, Southeast Asian metrics in math and science, but they have global citizenship education or global citizenship competence as part of the international exam, as part of the test. Even PISA has already included in the 2018 exam the global competence, no, and it is something that we don't do just for the answering of exam, no, just to comprehend an examination and to be not at the bottom of the list of countries who took the exam, but to really be responsible citizens in order for us to build a better society. Okay. So of course, I would like to look at GSED from the UNESCO's perspective, no, because there are not a single definition. There's no single definition of global citizenship education. In fact, there are so many organizations that will define, no, yes, I am. That will define global citizenship. No, it stands on many foundations. It has different agenda, but the agenda is focusing on the same planet, and they are interconnected. And I would like to emphasize that even there are different definitions of global citizenship education or global education, they interconnect and support each other. So we can focus on the role of educators. We can focus on the relevance of education and the content of education as well. And so also emphasizing on the non-cognitive aspect of learning. No? When we say non-cognitive aspect of learning, these are the transversal skills that we have. No, in 2018, we had a research we call the looking at or in studying the non-transversal skills of teachers. And you know what? In 5 areas of non-cognitive or transversal skills, global citizenship education got the lowest score in the aptitude, meaning that teachers do not know how to teach global citizenship education values and skills and knowledge, of course, content, and also that they do not focus on teaching in a global perspective. What's the highest among the priorities? Of course, the content and also the integration of ICT. Okay? Yun, nandun ang focus ng mga teachers. And so we want to give emphasis on the non-cognitive aspects such as values. Ako, I have a very big lean on values. I have a very big bias on values because I'm a values advocate, no values education advocate. And when you talk about global citizenship education, you're actually talking about values, no attitudes and well-being of persons. No, this is actually focused on, we have the 4 pillars of education. Remember the 4 pillars of education of UNESCO by Jacques Delors, no, na learning to be, learning to live together, learning to do, and learning to know. And of course, this global citizenship education is focused more on learning to be, no, and learning to live together. And how do we live together in a world that is divided by, like in the Philippines, divided by different ideologies, no? And so we focus on how we can highlight respect for human rights and all of these values, no? And all of these priorities. And this is for, of course, learners for all ages. Okay, so what are the core competencies of GCED or Global Citizenship Education? We have the cognitive, socio-emotional, and behavioral, as well as no sa kay Bloom's taxonomy of objectives, no CAP, but here CSB. Okay, so for the global citizenship education in the UNESCO perspective, we have focus on cognitive skills, no, specifically content and knowledge, but also skills of understanding and critical thinking. No, these are cognitive skills, no, critical thinking, creativity, 21st century skills na understanding the global issues and how it is interconnected with each other, and also the interdependency of different countries, different population, and different governments. No? How do we see that in our situation right now? You see, this pandemic has highlighted how we should be global citizenship as well. No? How we can teach global citizenship and how can we be global citizens in terms of being responsible of taking care of ourselves and also of following the protocols, health protocols, so that we may not affect other people. And as the new variant of virus is now being felt or being experienced again, no, another wave of this pandemic in different countries in the world, specifically in Europe and Africa, and also in Korea, no, in Hong Kong, here in Asia. We talk about how governments, no, actually talk to each other, talk to the health department, and there is the World Health Organization taking the lead to have dialogues on how we can protect each other and how we can help. Even the sharing of vaccines, no, and how we are interdependent of each other. No country lives alone. Well, we go back to the song that we learned when we were younger, no, sa church natin. Walang sino man ang nabubuhay para sa sarili naman. Walang sino man ang nabubuhay para sa sarili lamang. Totoo yun. Wala talagang nabubuhay. No? Pag mas may edad pa sa atin, syempre ang kakantahin niya yung no man is an island. So wala talagang nabubuhay na mag-isa. We need each other, but also in that kind of a need, no, to be interdependent and to be interconnected with each other and also with the different systems, we need to understand. We need to be critically informed, no? And where does the understanding and critical understanding of the news lies, where this lies on the cognitive aspect of core competencies of global citizenship education. When you're the media literacy. Now, I would like to focus on the media literacy, and media literacy is very important part of critical thinking. No, and of course, how do you solve problems in the community? You need to understand well the community, and you need to do needs analysis and environmental scanning, and you need critical thinking in order to look at the data and to find solution to those problems. Okay, for the second dimension of the core competencies is the social-emotional competency. This is all about shared values and responsibilities. This is all about respect for rights of other people. No, but also I would like to emphasize empathy. No, empathy. Why? Because this is a very important ingredient. No, this is actually the foundational stone, the cornerstone of respecting other people. When you are able to empathize other people. Ano ba yung empathy? Hindi ito yung oh, naiintindihan kita. Hindi ito yung pagsasabi na naiintindihan mo yung tao, but ito yung pagsasabi. Yung ang dali lang kasi sabihin, I feel you, right? Pero ito yung pagpapakita na ikaw mismo ay naramdaman mo kung paanong maging katulad niya at pinagdaanan mo. Or kahit hindi mo naman pinagdaanan physically, ay nakikita mo sa iyong puso, no, na kung ikaw yung nasa kalagayan niya, ano ba yung magiging reaction mo, ano ba yung mararamdaman mo. That kind of empathy will actually move us to action. Okay, and of course solidarity. When we talk about solidarity, we talk about how we respect other people and how we appreciate the differences, no, and in humanity, looking at we are all human, but we are all different from each other, and there's no wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being different, and there's nothing wrong with our color of the skin. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing. Carol, do you want to say something?
I'm sorry, napindot lang.
Sige, thank you. All right, so belonging to a common humanity that kahit nasa ang lugar ang isang tao, kahit saan pa siya nanggaling, siya ay tao. At mahalaga yon na iniintindi natin dahil yun ang ating magiging batayan, no, ng ating paggalang sa dignidad ng tao. Importante yun, no? Ginagalang natin ang dignidad ng tao, anuman ang kanyang kalalagayan. Okay, and the third dimension is all about behavioral. The behavioral aspect of or dimension of global citizenship is actually ito naman yung foundational stone ng engagement, no, ng community engagement. And so we act effectively and responsibly at local, national, global context for a more peaceful and sustainable world. Makikita nyo yan, hindi rin yan pwedeng tumayong mag-isa, no? Itong tatlong to ay dapat na magkakasama. Mahirap siyang i-attain. You cannot attain one without the other. So it needs to be together. It needs to be given focus when you educate young learners or even adult learners in the in different webinars that you have, no, to look at it, no. And now we are integrating sustainable development goals and global citizenship in the framework of our proposals for community actions. Okay, so what are the sustainable development goals? No, the sustainable development goals is an offshoot of the Millennium Development Goals 2015. So basically, this is a continuation of the Millennium Development Goals because the countries all over the world, they were not able to completely attain the Millennium Development Goals. But I think, no, if you will ask me, the Millennium Development Goals, no, and education for all targets are, I think it's already met because all countries now have institutionalized access to education. When we say access to education, well, but it's being continued in SDG number 4. As you can see, there are 17 sustainable development goals, no? Importante itong malaman natin. Bakit? Kasi yung mga action natin ay dito gumagalaw. So number 1, sustainable development goal number 1 is the goal of no poverty. So dapat wala nang mahirap. Medyo ano ito, suntok sa buwan sa Pilipinas, pero possible, no? Pwede naman mangarap, 'di ba? Pero gusto natin ay maging action ito. Number 2, wala nang nagugutom. Number 3, good health and well-being. Number 4, quality education. Number 5, gender equality. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Number 7, affordable and clean energy. Number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Number 10, reduced inequalities. Number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Number 13, climate action. Number 14, life below water. Number 15, life on land. And number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And number 17, partnership for goals. And these goals, no, they are interconnected with each other. You cannot really actually, attain goal number 2 without attaining goal number 1, or vice versa, as well as goal number 3. You cannot attain goal number 1, 2, 3, 5 without attaining goal number 4. And you cannot attain goal number 5 without attaining goal number 11. And so these are really connected to each other. No, to give you further, I will show a video later, no, to give you further understanding of that. And why? Now, when I was in college back in the 90s, maybe you were not born yet, you know, because I finished college in 1994, and maybe some of you were not born yet. No, I was my professor, Professor Rene Romero, gave us this title of the book, no, The Future Shock by Alvin Toffler, and we actually have read about what we were not thinking about happening during that time, no. Sabi dito, the world will shrink. This will be a shrinking world, and it will become flat. And he talked about the digital development that we will be encountering. And 20, 25 years, 30 years after that, ito na nga ang nangyari, no? Ito na yung nangyari. As of January 2021, look at the world. It has been shrinking because of the digital aspects that we have, no? The digital access of people, where you see in this statistics, no, by Hootsuite, that we have a total population, out of the total population of 7.83 billion, and urbanized, the urbanized part is already 56.4. But of course, we are talking about the other half of the world that is not yet urbanized. And you see that there are 5.22 billion, or 66.6%, who has access to mobile phone or using mobile phone. Sino dito ang, sige nga, reaction nga, heart react nga sa mga tao. Sino dito ang may cellphone? Yun, di ba? Halos lahat kayo. In fact, baka ginagamit niyo yung cellphone niyo. Binigyan kayo ng university ng tablet, di ba? Binigyan ba kayo ng laptop ng university? Ayan, pinahiram. Kita nyo, yung iba nga, hindi lang nga isa yung mobile phone, eh. Di ba? Okay. And then we have about 60%, 59.5% of the population, or 4.66 billion, who are using the internet. And you see, have access to the internet. But of course, I will look at the 40% of the population that do not have access to internet. And that's almost half of the population, diba? That's almost half of the population that is struggling, no? And that goes, that number goes to, of course, including students who cannot have access to good education because of the digital divide. And I will presume that most Filipinos are in this statistics. 53.6% of the whole population in the world, or 4.2 billion, are active social media users. No, right at this moment, maybe you are accessing your Facebook account or your Twitter and posting something about what I'm saying, or maybe sharing the things that you are learning about global citizenship education as well. But aside from the shrinking world, we are in a global ecological crisis. No, hindi naman yan natigil dahil nagkaroon ng pandemic. Hindi naman yan tinapos ng pandemic. Still, there is the problem of environmental destruction and ecological crisis. You see, one of the biggest problems that we will face in the near future is the lack of potable water. And so we need to act right now. We need to be very careful in using water, because there will be a time that most of the lands in the Philippines will be desertified or nagiging desierto dahil sa sobrang kainit, no? So, and it is, of course, as you can see, it is an after effect of climate change. And when we talk about climate change, it's not about US, it's not about in Europe alone, but it's affecting the whole world, no? And you see that we have hindi lang connection ng internet ang ating intermittent, but we also have intermittent weather forecasting. Nalilito tayo, bakit ganon, no? I remember a few weeks ago, just last week, I am bound for Batanes, but I cannot land in Batanes because of the very bad weather. And so I was rerouted to Cagayan, but then again, because of a very cloudy and very pero ang init sa Maynila. So yun pa lang sa Pilipinas pa lang. As you can see, no, there are extreme weather conditions that we are, of course, experiencing. And this picture at the far right, no, sa inyong screen, ito yung problem of pollution. Sabi nila, nabawasan yung pollution kasi medyo hindi tayo nagbabiyahe. Pero at this time, balik na din lahat, no? And of course, quarrying and all of this man-made destruction that we are doing in our environment. Okay? And of course, the latest challenge that we are facing, the global pandemic and the post-pandemic era. What will happen to the world in this after this year? And congratulations for surviving the 2 years, almost 2 years of being in an on and off lockdown and being able to be healthy amidst the threat of virus. So global pandemic and post-pandemic era, of course, it entails how governments are, going to put solutions to the problem or the challenges of the VUCA world. Very VUCA, very volatile, very uncertain, very complex, ambiguous. Hindi mo alam ano mangyayari bukas. Mga ganyang pangyayari. Mga ganyan ang ating kinalalagyan. Very unpredictable and very disruptive. No? And so, hindi siya kailangan ng isang aksyon ng isang maliit na bansa o ng isang malaking bansa. Kailangan niya ng aksyon ng mas nakararami at ang pag-unawa ng lahat ng tao sa mundo. Okay? Because, pinakita nito, in-intensify ng pandemic na ito, how the countries of the world are interconnected and that we should face global challenges, no, that cross national borders and that concerns everybody in this planet. So we need to be relevant, no, and global citizenship education is not an it's not a magic pill, but it can help, no, having the knowledge, the attitude, the skills needed to tackle all these global challenges that we are facing. So pag-aralan natin, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng citizenship? Citizenship beyond borders. Pero ma'am, ako ay isang Pilipino. O sige, mas gawin nating lokal. Pero ma'am, ako ay taga Quezon, taga Lopez ako. By the way, taga Quezon din ako. Ang aking nanay ay taga Quezon, no? Quezon. At Mauban. So, diyan ang aming mga roots sa Mauban, Quezon. Pero ito yung sinasabi natin na planetary citizenship. Ano ba? Iiwanan ko na ba yung pagka-Pilipino ko? Hindi po, no? Ikaw pa rin ay magiging Pilipino, pero ang mga aksyon mo bilang pagmamahal sa Pilipinas ay nakakaapekto din sa global environment, no, sa ating planeta. Kaya tinawag itong global citizenship. This is citizenship beyond borders. Wala itong passport, no? Kasi yung passport ay territorial, pero ang kailangan mo ay global competence. No? What is global competence? Of course, sinabi ko na kanina, kailangan nasa isip mo, I belong to a broader community of humanity. Hindi lang ang Quezon ang kinalalagyan ko. Meron akong puwang sa mundo. O kaya kung alam mo wala kang puwang sa isang tao, may puwang ka sa mundo, ha? Meron kang gagawin. Huwag mong isingit yung sarili mo, huwag mong isiksik sa kanya ang iyong sarili. Meron kang puwang sa mundo and you belong to a broader community, to a global community. Okay? So that is the global community, no, beyond national borders, no. Lahat tayo ay tao, human, no. Ayan. So we can actually have connection. We can connect, no, among people. Alam niyo tayo mga Pilipino, dito tayo magaling. Bakit ba pag nakakita ka ng isang kakilala, nakasalubong mo lang, tatanungin ko, oh, isang kapunta, saan ka galing? Bakit kaya tayo tanong ng tanong, sino kasama mo? Hindi yan pagiging pride. It's not about prying, but you know, we are culturally, we are fond of finding connections, no? Doon sa isang tao, gusto mo pang makahanap ng connection sa tao na kinausap ko. Saan ka galing? Ay, galing ako sa ganito. O talaga, doon din ako punta. Ano, kamusta naman doon? Okay? So, inuukil-kil natin yung isang tao. Marami tayong masyadong tanong. Sabi nga ng isang American friend ko na we Filipinos are like reporters. No, we need to, ask questions until we find some answers na, we are connected. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? And because we are good at I would rather say that our culture have trained us to be people-oriented. Bihira ang mga Pilipino na hindi masyadong, kaya nga magaling daw sa service, no, yung ating mga OFW because we are people-oriented and we appreciate diversity. So, global citizenship is local as well as global. Yeah. Transformative ito, no? Baka kasi marinig niyo yung transformative education. So global citizenship is one kind of transformative education. Why? Because it is an avenue for changing the community and its goal is to change communities for the better. Okay? Also, it's genderized, no? When we say it's genderized, meaning that we also put in some gender equality issues and how we combat gender inequalities in our society. Of course, human rights, no, this push for non-discrimination, non-violence, and of course the values of respect. So why? I think global citizenship education is the response, no, to be relevant, no, to be relevant in our kind of world that we have right now. So how do we create global citizens? How do we give emphasis on educating global citizens in our school, no, in PNU, in PNU South Luzon, or in your campus, or in teaching, no, in integrating this into the teaching and learning and different activities in your campus. Masasabi mong global citizen ka kapag ka-aware ka sa mga nangyayari sa mundo, no? Hindi pagiging marites, pero yung batay sa mga datos na ni-research, no? And you know your role, no, as a citizen of the world. Then we have respectful of values and respectful of diversity. In fact, no, yung respect mo goes beyond appreciation of diversity. Okay? Also, it has an understanding, a global citizen has an understanding of how the world works. So, hindi yung reklamo ka ng reklamo. Bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? Naalala ko tuloy, nabasa ko sa social media, no, yung mga Eusebio nagre-reklamo sila. Bakit sa Pasig, konti lang ang mga Christmas decoration? Yun talaga yung focus. No? Talk about priorities today. Diba? Christmas decor ba yung focus natin at this point in time? No? And of course, yung nakakakita ka ng injustice, hindi okay sa'yo yun. Hindi ka tumatawa. Dapat natutrouble ka doon. Dapat may discomfort ka na, teka lang, hindi yun tama. Diba? But of course, you also participate in the community, no, at different levels and ranges, from local, no, to global, from home actually to your neighborhood, to your local community, and to the global community as well. No? And the willingness, no, we have the willingness to act and to make the world a more equitable and sustainable place, no? Peaceful place. We take responsibility of our action that's being ethical, and of course, we feel an ethical responsibility to others around the globe. We are ethically responsible for each other. Yeah. And so what is the significance of GSED in the Sustainable Development Goals? I'm focusing on target 4.7 to ensure that learners acquire the knowledge, skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and nonviolence, global citizenship, and appreciation of global appreciation of cultural diversity and global diversity, and the culture's contribution to sustainable development. And this is important. Now, there are different sub-targets of the SDG 4.7, but you can actually download it at the UNESCO website. Okay? So let's look at these videos. I'm gonna stop share and share again my video. I'm sorry for that. Can you see my screen? Can you see my? Okay, good. So I'm gonna show you the video of UN Philippines, no? Ayan. Nakikita nyo na? Naririnig mo? Naririnig?
Yes po, ma'am. Yes po.
All right, thank you.
Kinakailangan tayo ang henerasyon na magwawakas sa matinding kahirapan.
Tayo
Ang henerasyon
na pinakapursigidong
labanan
ang kawalan ng hustisya at hindi pagkakapantay-pantay.
at ang henerasyon na siyang susugpo sa climate change.
At ito ang gagawin natin.
Ang Sustainable Development Goals.
15 taong plano para sa ating lahat.
Sa bawat sulok ng mundo,
Wala tayong iiwanan.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundong walang sinuman ang dumaranas.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan
walang nagugutom at gumigising sa umagang nagtatanong,
may kakainin ba yun?
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan walang taong namamatay
sa sakit na may lunas.
At kung saan
ang tamang pangangalaga
ng kalusugan ay panghabang buhay.
ang karapatan ng lahat.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan lahat ay nakakapag-aral
At nabibigyan ng sapat na kaalaman
At kasanayan
para sa isang masaganang buhay.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan lahat ng kababaihan at lahat ng batang babae
ay may patas na oportunidad
upang umunlad,
maging matibay at ligtas.
hindi tayo magtatagumpay
kung kalahati ng mundo
ay naiiwan.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan lahat ay mayroong malinis na tubig at maayos na palikuran.
Sa bahay,
Sa paaralan at sa trabaho.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundong
May sapat na enerhiya para sa lahat. Init, ilaw at
kuryente na hindi sumisira sa mundo.
Sa isang mundong umuunlad
ang mga ekonomiya
at ang kayamanang tinatamasa
ay siya ring magbibigay
Ng disenteng trabaho para sa lahat.
sa isang mundo kung saan ang ating mga industriya, infrastruktura at pinakamahusay na inobasyon
Hindi lamang ginagamit upang magpayaman.
Kundi para maiangat ang buhay nating lahat.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundong walang diskriminasyon at labis na di pagkakapantay-pantay.
sa loob ng ating bansa
Sa pagitan ng mga bansa.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan
ang lungsod at komunidad ay ligtas.
Maunlad at sumusuporta sa mga naninirahan dito.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan ibinabalik natin
ang ating kinuha sa inang kalikasan.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundong desididong sumpuin.
Ang banta ng climate change.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo
kung saan pinangangalagaan natin ang ating mga karagatan. Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan pinangangalagaan natin ang buhay sa kalupaan.
Mga kagubatan, mga hayop.
At ang kabuuan ng ating daigdig.
Mamumuhay tayo sa isang mundo kung saan may kapayapaan sa bansa.
kung saan ang lahat ng pamahalaan ay may pananagutan.
At isang mundo
kung saan mamamayani ang hustisya at bawat isa ay pantay sa harap ng batas.
At tayo ay dapat mamuhay sa isang mundo kung saan ang lahat ng bansa
at ang kanilang mga mamamayan
Ay magtutulungan upang isakatuparan ang Sustainable Development Goals.
sa lahat ng mga tao at sa lahat ng sulok ng mundo.
Ito ang United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Tayo na't kumilos
Sabay-sabay nating isakatuparan ito.
Para sa atin,
Upang walang maiiwanan.
ito ang United Nations Sustainable Development.
Yan. Gusto ko kayong tanungin. Meron ba kayong tanong?
Understanding the
Sandali.
dimensions of sustainable development.
Sorry.
By endorsing Agenda 2030 and its 17 goals, the world community has reaffirmed its
My job is...
Ayan. Meron ba kayong question tungkol sa Sustainable Development Goals? Meron ba kayong hindi nakita na, teka lang, hindi ito para sa, hindi ito applicable sa Pilipinas. Yan. Hindi ito para sa atin. Yan. Tanyo, no? Lahat ng yon ay tayo rin mga Pilipino. Actually, may iba pang version yan. No? Hanapin nyo na lang din sa YouTube yung version. Iba't ibang version ng Sustainable Development Goals sa iba't ibang bansa. Pero ito ay hindi lamang goal ng ating bansa. Ito ay goal ng lahat ng bansa sa buong mundo. No? At ano yung contribution natin dito? Marami na tayong mga ginagawa tungkol dito. At isa na dito yung mailagay natin yung global citizenship education sa ating educational system. At sinabi nga, binanggit kanina ni Ma'am Ayona na isa sa mga advocacy namin kasama si Ma'am Ayona dito ay mailagay, ma-envision natin na ang ating mga teachers ay may DNA ng global citizenship. Kasama kayo doon. Okay? At paano yan? Ito yung sinasabi namin kanina na ito yung that we have research at the Philippine Normal University Manila and together with Ma'am Ayona, no, as one of the faculty support, and we had a policy proposal to DepEd, no? Ang tawag namin paghabi. So, paano ba ang nakikita ito? Paano ba ito maipapakita? So, makita natin na sana yung mga mag-aaral natin, no, students of the Philippines from kinder to grade 12 and up to college, of course, and we at the, of course, teacher education should be aware of this, no, that learners should acquire knowledge and understanding of local, national, global issues. No, yung naiintindihan mo anong meron sa bansa, hindi yung ano ba talagang meron yung nagkakalat ka pa ng fake news, no? Kumbaga may mga Pilipino na hindi iniintindi kung anong nangyayari sa lokal, no? Hindi iniintindi kung ano ang ano. Pero hindi lang basta alam mo, ano, you have to develop critical understanding, also critical thinking and analysis of these issues, no? Kanina binanggit ko, develop attitudes of empathy, solidarity, respect for differences and diversity, and characterize a sense of belongingness to a common humanity. And of course, the behavioral aspect of acting effectively and respectfully, responsibly at local, national, global levels for a more peaceful, just, and sustainable world. So anong itsura noong global citizen? Number one, you are informed, no? Critically informed. No, anong ibig sabihin nun? Bago ka makialam, dapat ikaw ay may alam. Mahirap pang makialam nang walang alam, 'di ba? Mahirap 'yon. So kailangan you need to know the facts and you need to have sources that are really ang tawag natin dito, yung mga sources natin na kinukuhanan natin ay talagang viable source and respectable source naman. Okay, respectful of diversity, socially connected, and characterize the value of maka-Diyos, makatao, makabayan, at makakalikasan, no, with a sense of belonging to a common humanity, but also ethically responsible and engaged actors for transformation. Because ang mission natin, ang philosophy natin sa Philippine Normal University is education for personal change and social transformation. So what are the different different levels, no, in the social, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral? Nilagyan namin yan, na binatay namin sa Bloom's objectives, no? Na sige, nandito ka sa cognitive skill mo, nare-recognize mo yung complex situation and may problem, okay. Pero dapat nako-communicate mo rin, dapat meron ka ring skill of communication and dialogue, respectful dialogue, in order for you to know about the different sides of the coin. Sabi nga natin, the different dimensions of a problem, no? You will be able to look at the different aspects of the problem and have respectful dialogue to those who are involved, no, in that problem. And then we have the illustration of connection from multiple perspectives and worldviews. Hindi mo lang siya tinitignan sa isang aspeto, pero tinitignan mo ano pa ba, no? At kung meron kang worldviews, hindi lang view ng pagiging Filipino, kundi pag lumabas ka ng Pilipinas, ano ba yung tingin dito sa issue na ito? And then of course, looking at reliable and relevant sources of information and analyzing it, that will require critical analysis, and then evaluation of appropriate actions, consequences, and implications, not just your action, but also the action of different levels of or different groups of people. And then, of course, to formulate arguments with sound reasoning and with evidences. In terms of socio-emotional, we look at how we acknowledge, no, our shared identity, but also look into how we communicate these perspectives through discourses and dialogues, and then show concern and respect for humanity based on human rights, valuing humanity, our nation as basis for our identity, but also acting responsibly and committing to assume responsibility for others in the world, and adapting in various contexts with mutual understanding, cooperation, and collaboration, as well as characterizing the global mindedness and global self-efficacy. And for the behavioral dimension, you see demonstrating ano ba yung pinakamataas ethical, responsible behavior sa society, mataas na yan actually, no? Yung behavioral kasi creating yan eh. Yun yung pinakamataas sa taxonomy of objectives, no? When you are doing something. And so, pero doon, meron pa ring levels, no? If you demonstrate ethical, responsible behavior alone, it's different from conducting civic actions in global issues or acting habitually, no? Based on respect and empathy, or directing an action towards an issue to be solved, which can be taken collectively, and then initiation of discussion about different problems in the society, or even organizing advocacies, no, in the different levels. Well, these are the themes, no? Makikita nyo dyan, lahat yan ay tumatalakay sa Sustainable Development Goals, no? So nilagyan namin siya ng environmental protection, sustainability, culture and intercultural relation, institutions, conflicts, social justice, human right, socio-economic development and interdependence, local, national, and international structure, systems, and structures and processes. Okay, eto naman yung tinatawag natin na ano ba yung common context natin? Well, of course, look at the problems that we have right now. No, there are so many challenges affecting all people in the world, no, gender inequality, climate change, of course, territorial conflicts, environmental degradation, no, equitability of natural resources, radicalization, tension among populations, and terrorism. And so we need to make fundamental changes on how we can coexist and these different problems in the society. And so I call this the 5 Ps of global citizenship action. Look at people, you look at the planet, you look at the partnership, you look at how you can integrate peace education, and look at how to ensure equality and equity through the prosperity. So the sustainable development, look at the 5 Ps, no? Ito, lahat ito ay peace consideration. The 5 Ps, kung may 4 Ps ang gobyerno, meron tayong 5 Ps of sustainable development goals. No? Pero dinadagdagan natin yan. Binibigyan natin ng highlight dyan yung itong ginagawa natin. Ito, yung peace and partnership. Kasi itong people, itong planet, itong prosperity, ito ay sila yung mag-experience or mag-harvest ng impact. Pero yung peace and partnership, ito yung gagawin natin. No? Ito yung dapat natin gawin. So when we say, looking at how we can teach peace, no, this is the ethical dimension of sustainable development, concerns with values of equity, respect. Tandaan ha, pag walang respeto, wala ring kapayapaan, 'di ba? So pag walang justice, walang kapayapaan definitely. So gusto natin na lahat ng itong mga actions natin dito towards establishing peace, no? From the inner peace up to the global peace, and then partnership, how we collaborate with each other with the agenda of facing the challenges and transforming our communities. So bakit? Why global citizenship now? May oras pa ba ako? Sige. So what are our ways forward? We can initiate a whole school approach to GSED integration. We can make integration of GSED towards sustainable development. Now we can adapt the values relevant to addressing global challenges. Make us participate and collaborate and engage in advocacies. So, ano yung mga tools na yan na pwede natin gamitin? Well, sinabi na natin, binigay natin yung paghabi, can have it. Hindi ko na yan ipapakita siguro. Gusto niyo ba mapakita ko to? Naririnig niyo? May sound?
Yes po, meron po.
Alright, sige. Ito yung video na ginawa ko sa isang ko. Yung mga pedagogy na pwede natin gamitin. Digital pedagogy. can you indicate yeah. We can do lesson planning, pero ito yung gusto natin. I will end with this, no? Ito ang anak kong bunso, and we want this child to have a better future. No, together with your kapatid, no? Together with your pamangkin, no? Yung kababayan natin. Bakit? Na itong batang to, no? At tayong lahat ay magiging isang magiging isang Pilipino na makatao at mabuti. No? Globally competent, adaptive, pero na marunong makipagkapwa. Makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan at makabansa. Ito yung pinag-uusapan ko kanina na Filipino Global Citizenship mula sa loob. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin mula sa loob, kilala natin kung sino tayo, saan tayo nagmula, anong ating kultura, ano ang consciousness natin bilang mga Pilipino, at tayo ay kasama sa isang global na komunidad, no? Pero tayo ay Pilipino. Sabihin, ang competence natin ay naipapakita natin sa aspeto ng sarili, sa pamilya, sa komunidad, sa bansa, at sa daigdig. Pero nagbibigay tayo ng malaking pagkakataon upang malinang ang ating pakikipagkapwa, at sa pakikipagkapwa ang ibig kong sabihin dyan, no, yung global citizenship mula sa loob, from within. Ito ay galing halaw mula sa research namin ni Professor Carl Del Yomos, no, yung shared identity, yung shared values nating mga Pilipino at yung relationship natin sa isa't isa. Ngayon kung lalabas tayo, syempre hawak natin, tangan natin ang 21st century skills at iba pang global competencies, no? At tayo ay adaptive at globally competent, no? Ang kaalaman natin. Pero meaningful sa atin ang pagiging Pilipino. Hindi yung pagiging Pilipino na distorted, alienated, at marginalized. We value our own identity with communal respect and love for common humanity, but acting towards a better, just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Ginagawa natin lahat ito para sa batang to at para sa lahat ng batang Pilipino, no? Para walang maiiwan. At ako ay nagbibigay ng lecture na ito para sa inyo, para sa bata at para sa bayan. Maraming salamat po. That ends my presentation for this morning. Thank you sa pakikinig niyo sa akin.
Thank you so much po, Doc Rowena, for your presentation. Napakaganda po ng topic natin today. Gusto ko lang din po magbigay ng isang idea. Ano po? Dun po, yung about po dito sa huli ninyong nabanggit na yung about sa kabataan po. Sinabi din po ni Rizal na ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Pero dapat po yun ay nagsisimula sa atin na tinuturuan po natin yung mga mas nakababata pa sa atin para mas maging maayos sila sa paglaki nila. Kasi kung iaasa lang natin sa kanila, sa kanilang sariling pagkatuto, ay maaaring hindi natin ma-reach yung goals natin sa lipunan. Kaya kailangan tayo yung pinakaunang merong competency about sa pagtuturo dito sa mga batang ito, about nga dito sa topic natin today. Yun po, ma'am. Thank you po. And
yes, hello. I cannot agree more, no? Siyempre, pag sinabi natin ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan, pero hindi natin sila tuturuan, anong pag-asa ang hinihintay natin? Wala, di ba? They need role models. Kung mamimili sila ng role model, buti nga ngayon, meron ng advocacy yung BTS kasi ang daming army sa atin, no? Pero sana, ibalanse din natin, no? Yung ating pagiging Pilipino at kung paano natin makikita. Okay naman ma-appreciate yung lahat ng yan, no? Pero paano tayo magiging mas aktibong Pilipino na gumaganap para maging bahagi ng solusyon, no? At hindi ng problema ng bansa.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that wonderful presentation. It's very knowledgeable and helpful po. So I would like to ask lang din po for each section to have a representative to share your insights, or kung may questions man kayo regarding sa ating topic, feel free to just raise your hands po.
Ma'am Carol, let's start with GE1. Somebody from GE1, please share your insight.
Okay, so pag nagpe-prepare pa naman sila, so gusto ko lang din pong sabihin na it's very necessary po na parang aware tayo sa mga ganitong usapin, kasi makakatulong tayo para i-fulfill yung needs ng bawat isa, ng bawat tao, at para na din sa future generations ng ating kagaya nga po ng nabanggit nyo, para sa mga bata. At yun po sa tingin ko is napaka-importante para sa atin at para na rin po sa kinabukasan ng bawat isa.
I agree with you, Miss Carol. I agree with you.
Ayan, Ma'am Carol, wala pa yata sa GE1. So, proceed muna tayo sa GE2 para tuloy-tuloy ang ating program. Ma'am Abigail, you're raising your hand. Please proceed.
Hi po, yes po. Am I audible po?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and
Yes,
clear.
ma'am.
Okay po, thank you so much. So before everything else, I would like to greet everyone po a good morning. My name is So before everything else, I would like to greet everyone good morning. So especially to our faculties and to our guest speaker for today, Ma'am Rowena Hibanata. It's a blessed morning po. My name is Abigail Carulio and I am the representative of General Education team. So yun nga po So I would like to share nga lang po my insights about today's topic of NSTP. So as our world changes po, nagkakaroon din po ng pagbabago sa ating educational system. So, I mean, bakit nga po ba nagkakaroon? Bakit naaapektuhan lahat kapag nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa ating mundo? So, bakit nga ba tayo nag-aaral, di ba? To equip us knowledge, skills, and competencies na magagamit natin in survival sa real world. So, as nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa ating mundo, yung educational system natin is umaayon sa kung ano yung kailangan natin sa ganoong panahon. So, kung ano ang kailangan natin time. So isa nga sa mga pagbabagong isa nga sa mga approach na ginawa para ma-resolve or ma-address itong mga pagbabago na nangyayari sa ating mundo is yung pagkakaroon ng, I don't know how can we call this, educational system, educational area. So yun nga, i-present po sa atin yung global citizen education na kung saan nagpo-focus po siya sa nagpo-focus po siya sa pagkakaroon ng peace and sustainability sa ating global world. So, global na world pa. So, yan. So, first of all, ano nga ba yung global citizenship education? So, it serves as a response po to challenges relating to human rights violations, inequality, and poverty, which all have an impact to peace and sustainability. So, in short, ito pong global citizenship education is an approach po para bigyan po ng knowledge, para i-equip po yung citizens, hindi lang po tayong student but lahat po ng citizens na magkaroon po ng knowledge kung ano nga po ba yung mga bagay na nakaka-affect or nagpo-cause ng changes sa ating mundo at sa mga taong nakatira dito, as well as it also challenges us citizens to play an active and leading role in creating a better world. So, yun nga po, dapat, di ba, natututo tayo. We must learn and we must also show that we learn. Hindi lang dapat pumapasok sa ating utak kung ano yung natututunan natin. Dapat na i-apply natin yun sa ating mga actions para masabi na natututo tayo. So, upon the discussion po, it emphasizes kung gaano kahalaga ang participation nating mga students dito sa pagkakaroon ng sustainable world. So, kagaya nga po nasabi ni Ma'am kanina, kung hindi kung hindi natin to gagawin ngayon, sino yung gagawa nito, di ba? Tayo yung nasa present, tayo dapat yung gumawa ng actions. Let's say na hindi lang natin to ginagawa para sa ating sarili, ginagawa natin to para sa mga nakababata nating kapatid, so ginagawa natin para sa mga magiging future family natin. So, that would be all for my insight.
And thank you so much po, Ma'am Abby. So, we'll be proceeding to GE3 muna kasi wala pa sa GE1. So, sino pwede sa inyo sa GE3? Please just raise your hand.
Oh, okay, so parang may question dito sa chat box kay Sir John David. Ma'am, ang question niya po is, ma'am, is it bad for me to believe in the notion of dystopia? My reason here is dystopia is inviolable and we humans can only delay it. From ano po ito? From Sir David?
Inevitable para sa isang tao na makita na parang puro paghihirap na lang to, no? Yun yung dystopia, no? Na puro paghihirap na lang nakikita ko dito. This is actually the exact opposite of utopia. Pero ang question mo is it bad for you to have this notion? First of all, I would like to say that it's just a notion. I would like to believe that we can forge a better world for everybody. Hindi ko alam kung ano mangyayari sa mga susunod na panahon para sabihin natin na ano yan, ayan na yung mangyayari sa atin na magkakandahirap tayo, maraming suffering, maraming injustice. No, pero pag tinignan mo, you can always find good in many spaces. No, marami pa rin kang makikitang mabuting nangyayari sa mundo. At kahit tignan mo yung iyong sarili, maraming mabuting pangyayari na nangyayari sa iyo. The fact that you're still breathing is I think it's a good thing na nandito ka pa. So yung notion of bad and good, actually, ikaw yung makakaalam nun, makakasagot nun kung magiging mabuti ba yan sa'yo o magiging hindi. Anyway, yan ay notion. Yan ay nasa isip, no? Pero I would like to encourage you to look at the good side of this world. It's still a good world because we're here and because you are here and you can do something about this. We can do something about what's happening in this country. That's the thing, no? Yung binigay sa atin yung freedom to act on things that we can act on. So that's the challenge for you. Nasagot ko ba yung tanong niya ni Mr. John David? Nasagot ko ba yung tanong mo?
Sir David? You can type sa chat box if hindi po pa kayong mag-open ng mic.
Okay. Inevitable na mahirap. Kaya nga sabi ng mga Buddhist, yin yang, ibabalance mo. Diba? Sinabi rin naman sa Bible darkness and light. Diba? Pero ibabalance mo yung paano mo hinaharap yung buhay. Kasi kinukonsider ko po limited resources ang earth. Hindi nga Alam mo, ikaw mismo, you have unlimited resources in you. Alam mo kung ano yung pinaka-unlimited sa'yo? Your ability to love. And you will not run out of it. When you love the world, when you love the people, you will not run out of it. Promise ko sa'yo yan. And you know, the love that God has for you, it doesn't run off. Hindi yan nauubos. Laging bago tuwing umaga. New every morning. Great is His faithfulness. Sana natulungan kitang maging positive ngayong umaga na ito.
Thank you so much po kay Sir David and then and kay Ma'am Rowena.
Yes po.
Um,
So nag-agree
Ayan,
din po ako
sabi
kay
ni
Ma'am
Sir.
Rowena na may unlimited resources tayo dito and kailangan lang din po natin, kung gusto natin ng progress, kailangan din po natin magtulungan. And kaya nga po tayo nagkaroon ng webinar ngayon is to malaman natin yung goals and ways kung paano natin i-sustain yun ng maayos for us at for future generations po. So let's proceed to po sa
Daryl, gusto ko rin yung bigyan ng emphasis, no, yung takot niya na bakit kasi konti lang ang resources. Hindi nga actually, hindi lang nade-distribute ng maayos. So if we will teach global citizenship and we will have ideas of equal fair share, so siguro mas masaya lahat, 'di ba? So yun, doon ako tumitingin na magkakaroon tayo ng mga citizens, no, kahit sa local level na will be able to share everything in equity. So, hindi kulang yung resources para sa isang tao. Lahat mayroon, lahat kakain, walang magugutom at walang magkukulang.
Siguro po dahil pandemic ngayon, kaya siguro ganon at dahil marami din tayong na-experience na mga distractions sa nangyari sa ating ekonomiya. Pero yun naman po, may progress pa din naman po kahit papaano at nagkaroon na tayo ng insights ngayon kung paano ito mas lalong pangalagaan pa.
Ayan, thank you so much po sa inyo. Yung pong may mga questions pa, pwede po kayo magtaas ng inyong kamay para po masagot pa po ng ating speaker today.
Okay, so if wala na pong questions, ay magpo-proceed na po tayo sa awarding of certificates.
Ako na lang magtatanong, Teacher Carol.
Yes, ma'am. Opo.
Sige, on the chat box, isulat niyo po ang tatlong o isa lang, kahit isang sentence, no? Isang sentence, hindi naman kahit one-liner, kahit bullets. Natutunan mo sa araw na to. Ano ang baon mo pa uwi? What's your takeaway ngayong umaga? Yan. Thank you sa mga professors na pumunta po ngayong umaga. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Can you type in your takeaway? One takeaway lang. Kahit isang word lang or kahit isang phrase or even a sentence. So I'll know na may natutunan kayo katulad ng binigay ni Teacher Abigail. Ayan. Dapat may alam tayo bago makialam. I like that. Kasi pag nakialam ka lang, marites ka nun. Diba? Kaya dapat, ang alam ay dapat ginagamit sa pagkilos. Yeah. At sana yung in the light of International Volunteers Day bukas, sana yung kaalaman natin, ma-transpire natin sa pagbabago sa lipunan natin, no? Maging tayo, true agents of change. Yung Ma'am Iona sabi niya, gusto ko yung you will never run out of love. We will never run out of the ability to love. Yes, I agree, no, 100%. Sabi ni Teacher Hannah, it is enough that we teach ourselves about these things, but we should also share it with others. I like that. Yeah, so you can keep it coming. Oh. Ayan, sabi ni Ma'am Rosalie, we are connected to each other. I think I'm okay.
And thank you so much po. Thank you so much po sa lahat-lahat ng umattend sa atin. And we will proceed na po sa ating awarding ng certificate to our speaker for today. Kung wala naman na po sigurong questions, ano po, Sir Josh?
From our YouTube, wala na rin po sa YouTube channel. We can proceed to the awarding of the certificate.
Sige po, sir. Nasa inyo po ba yung ipipresent mo lang po?
Yes, kinuha ko lang sa akin.
Okay po, okay.
Ayan, habang nag-prepare si Sir Josh for our certificate for Doc Hibanada, I hope everyone here, kasama yung mga natin nasa YouTube channel, no? I hope everyone is pondering about what Doc Hibanada shared to us today kasi these are very meaningful pieces of knowledge, di ba? Sabi nga kanina ni Doc, medyo suntok sa buwan yung goals na ito, pero if every person will kumbaga ma-ingrain sa kanilang personality ang mga bagay na ito, di ba? Teamwork makes the dream work. If everyone will have this kind of attitude para sa ating, hindi lang para sa ating bayan, para sa ating bansa, pero para sa mundo. Thank you very much, Doc, for that very meaningful lecture.
So I would also like to share before I share the certificate. The discussion was wonderful and I really appreciate it. My sharing is ayun nga po, I know that yung sabi nga ni Ma'am Hana kanina yung tungkol sa sinabi ni Dr. Rowena, sobrang dami ng ating mga sustainable development goals. But I suggest that the students can only focus to one, then integrate other goals so that mas magiging madali sa kanila para ma-reach or makatulong sa ating environment. Just imagine every one of you, there are 160 students, I think, in our NSTP class. And then 16 ilang development goals na ulit po yan? I think 16? 17. So, di ba, 17 divided by 160. Each one of you will have it. So, I think we can support the world. Ano po? Ako, my part in the SDG is more of the renewable resources and other matters that is related to it, including environmental. So I hope that every student have learned new lessons from our NSTP webinar today. And for the awarding of the certificate, I will share my screen.
Sir Josh, wait lang po. Ma'am Cyrene is raising her hand.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Angelo, for the recognition. So I'd like to share also my insight with regards to the statement shared to us by our guest speaker. It is all about on how to exponentially multiply the fact, no? And of course, on how to apply these takeaways. There are some learnings gathered in some webinars, but this webinar is considered as one of the most momentous one. Isa sa nakita ko at narinig, yung pagbibigay ng kapayapaan from us, inner peace from us. Then we will consider it and distribute, spread, and disseminate to our community. Doon magsisimula, hindi lang sa 17 SDG goals na kailangan nating isaalang-alang at all times. Sa sarili natin magsisimula ang lahat. Thank you.
Ayan, thank you po. Sir Ed, hindi ka po namin marinig.
Meron na? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning, Dr. Weng.
Morning po.
So I'm glad that you were able to share to us what we have discussed this morning. Siguro ito pong aking tatanong naman ay hindi tanong talaga ito, kundi siguro po doon sa nalalapit na election, alam niyo naman, pipili tayo ng ating mga leader. Sa palagay ko, mahalaga din na mapili natin yung mga tamang leader para yung sustainable goals natin ay ating masustain nga. Ano po, something which will be supported by our national leader. So ano kaya po ang iyong maibibigay sa ating mga kabataan, sa ating mga magiging guro, mga estudyante, sa ating lahat na suggestion kung ano yung pinakamabuting guideline o panuntunan natin sa pagpili ng ating magiging leader?
Ganda ng tanong ni Sir Ed, but that's another talk, ha? Pero syempre, titignan natin, no, yung ang importante kasi, meron ba silang ng competence? Yung mga Cs, no? Ako, dalawa lang nga ako eh. Yung character and competence, no? Umpisa natin sa character and then yung competence. Meron pang ibang mga framework dito, pero ako dalawa lang para mabilis. Ano yung character niyang tao na yan? Ano yung competence niya? Dapat magkasabay na tinitingnan. Kasi kung magaling lang siya, pero hindi naman siya matino, hindi naman siya mabuti, baliwala lang, di ba? Marami na tayong naging leader na ganyan, no? Eh kung mabuti siya, pero kakulangan ng competence, mag-aaral pa siya. So, dapat pagsabayin yung ating tinitignan. Ganon din naman yung global citizenship natin. Hindi mo pwedeng, yung sinasabi kong competence, pati yung cognitive, behavioral, socio-emotional, no? Yun yung character, nag-emanate yun sa puso ng isang tao, sa kanyang pagkatao. So, sa akin mahalaga yung character and competence para mas madaling matandaan, no? Pero po, marami pang mga ibang bagay na pwede nating i-consider. Ito ay magiging maalab na talakayan sa mga susunod na buwan, Sir Ed.
Maraming salamat po. Thank you,
Titignan
Dr.
natin naman yan.
Banada.
Pero maganda po yan, maganda po. Na
Kasi
pagbigyan ng
siguro po,
pansin.
in addition to character and competence, it will also define the motive of the person. Ano po?
Yes.
Ano yung kanya talagang motibo sa kanyang pagtakbo
Tama
bilang
po.
leader.
Yes.
Salamat po.
Tama po. Kasama po yun sa kanyang pagkatao. Anong motibo niya? Kailangan malaman natin yun.
Sir Josh, will you present the certificate for Doc Ibanada? As a symbol of our appreciation, Doc, I shall read the citation of the certificate. Philippine Normal University South Zone, the National Center for Teacher Education, the Technology and Livelihood Education Hub. The certificate of recognition is awarded to Rowena Hibanada, PhD, for sharing her expertise as resource speaker during the NSTP webinar series with the topic Global Citizenship and Sustainable Development Goals, given this 4th day of December 2021, signed by our Executive Director and Provost, Dr. Leia Amor S. Cortez. We will send you this, Doc, via email po. Thank you very much. Thank you for lending your time to us.
Basta kayo.
Thank you po, ma'am.
May I request everyone to please let's have our documentation. Sir Angelo,